Hello, this is the game between Hans Niemann and Christopher Yu. Hans was white here, and let's have a look what white should play here. We have a couple of choices here. First, let's see where we should go with our pieces. So as always, I told you that you should probably divide the board and then to see where you should go with your pieces. So if you want to play on the queen side, probably c4 could be some solution here. But probably it's not the best, because we can see that black can maybe try to open that side, and then our king maybe will be exposed to attack, especially because of the pawn on e3. He could be weak if we push c4. Okay, what else we can play? Now the question is, because we don't want to play on the queen side, probably logical decision will be to play on the king side. So now we need to see, should we play e4 in some moment or maybe f4? What's the difference? The difference is, if we play f4, then probably we can exchange here and to weak this pawn on g5. But even if we capture that pawn, and probably black will just try to develop his bishop and then to exchange heavy pieces, then black probably can play queen g3, and then our pawn on g4 is a weak pawn. Also, g file is open for black, so he can use that to attack our pawns on g file. So that is the minus when we play f4. But on the other side, if we play e4, and if we trade the pawns on e4, then yes, that our pawn is weak on g4, but black can't use that for exchanging heavy pieces. Why is it important for us to not trade the heavy pieces? Because our king is much more safer here in this position. Black pawns are advanced already too much, and we can use that for attack on the king side. So our priority is here to take more space with our pawns and then to strike. So we are not interested to trade heavy pieces like the queens or the rooks. So logical explanation here, or logical answer, would be to play e4 in some moment. Okay, now let's have a look how we can play e4. So the pawn on g4 is hanging. If we play immediately e4, and then when we trade that, we are interested only to trade with the pawn. Why with the pawn? Because if we trade with the bishop, probably c5 will be logical answer for black, and then situation or action will be on totally different side. We don't want to play on the queen side, we are interested to play on the king side and to attack soon black king. So e4 with taking on with our f pawn, and then the pawn on g4 is hanging. So first we need to solve that problem, and then we will back to our idea e4. So first move must be queen e2 to defend that pawn. After that, black played bishop e6, which is probably normal move. Probably maybe better is to put the bishop on d7, but let's have a look this. Probably black wants to play bishop f7 and then bishop g6 to trade this powerful bishop on d3. How we know that this bishop on d3 is so powerful? Because our pawns mostly are on dark squares. So that means that someone needs to cover light squares, and we have perfect bishop for that. So probably black wants to trade him. Also, the knight can go on g6, that would be probably really nice place for the knight, because when we push e4, he wants to play knight f4 and to at least trade the knights, because that would be strategically important, so then the pawn on g5 won't hang. In some moment, of course, when we play e5. So there is ideas with that bishop e6. Okay, we don't need to wait anymore, we can play e4. After that, rook from a to e8. Logical answer, he wants to put heavy pieces probably where black expected file will be open. Okay, but he didn't stop us, so we played now e5. And now immediately white is in definitely almost winning situation, because we want to weak his pawn on f6, and then the pawn on g5 will fall. When we capture that pawn, not only that we will have maybe one pawn more, also the knight will be on really good position from where we can start to attack black king, which is great, because that was our idea from beginning. So e5, f takes, we capture, and then queen c5. Tempo move for black, he's attacking our king, so we must move the king, and the pawn on c3 is hanging. But as I told you already, we are not interested to play on the queen side. Let's give to black to take whatever he wants on the queen side, because we are interested to give checkmate, or we will see. So we will attack the king. So knight c6 now. Black, I think, preparing something like attack on the pawn, especially when he capture here. He wants to capture on e5, so some probably logical move here. and then we capture the pawn on g5. I didn't mention, but in this moment black can't defend the pawn on g5, so practically he needs to give us that pawn, but on the other side he wants to attack at least something. So knight g5 now, and again we must say that white has perfect position for attack, and there is no weakness in white position, especially not on the king side. So we have perfect pawn structure, everything is defending each other, so perfect position for attack. We can think how to be more active because we don't have problem in our on our side. So bishop c8. Now the pawn is hanging, so logical move would be to defend that with f4. Black capture on c3, and this is also one of better moves here what Hans played, and that is rook from a to c1. We want to kick the queen from this diagonal. This is important because in some moment when we push the pawn we can use that square for the queen, so queen e5 would be perfect solution for us to attack the king. So we want to move the queen from that place, and now black captured the pawn on a3. This is also what I would play here. Why? Because if white doesn't succeed in his attack, then at least we will capture some of enemy pawns, and then we have some material more, so maybe we can escape from checkmate, and then we will be in better position because we have more pawns and we can start to push our pawns. But this is just only if black survive this position. So queen a3 and then bishop h7. We start with attack, so we attack the king, so check, king h8, and now bishop g6. We are attacking the rook. So why first check on h7? Because in some moment maybe we can use h-file for attack, maybe we can play knight f7, we will see. So this is better for us, and also of course old idea, when we push e6 we can put the queen on e5, and that would be probably with tempo. So Hans create position for that, so he wants to play with tempo, which is so important. Speed in chess is so important thing. So rook e7, e6. As you can see, we took a lot of space with our pawns, and we are playing on the king side, and definitely black can't stop us with his idea what to play here. So queen g3, now the queen is on the king side, but the queen is not important here because she's doing whatever she's doing alone, so she doesn't have support. And now we can continue to attack. So now if you want, take a pause, try to see what is important here. Of course we need to include our queen in attack, so rook c6 is perfect answer for that. And black didn't capture, so he played king g7. This is kind of tempo move for black because now he's attacking the bishop, but let's have a look what would happen if he takes on c6. Then we can include the queen with tempo. Check, so he must stop us with rook g7 to close the check, but now we can play e7, rook e8, and knight f7, and after king g8 we have one pretty much quiet move. We can say queen h5, but we are threatening checkmate, and this is unstoppable now, so white will give checkmate soon. So this is only if he accepts our sacrifice on c6, but no, black played king g7. This is still winning position for white. So now bishop f7. Bishop f7 is so good move because we are preparing queen e5, but also we close the rook, so he can't close that check with rook f6. So black decided to sacrifice his rook. Okay, we accept that. Still we are threatening queen e5, king f8, queen e5. The rook is hanging on c6, but black doesn't have the time for him to take him. Rook e6, and now final move, queen h8, and black resigned here because he can't stop us. That will be checkmate soon. So queen h8, king takes maybe on f7, we can check him on c7, he can just prolong or nothing else, and then we have queen h7, which is totally winning. Now we can capture, and queen g7 checkmate. Okay, so what we can learn from this game? First, if we choose right plan, and we have one pawn more on the king side, so we can use that for taking more space on the king side, and black king is already weak because of his pawns. We have better pawns. Not only that, we have better pawn structure, we have better pieces in this position. Light square bishop from black side doesn't work, and he can't work. Only weakness in our position is could be pawn on g4, but only if we start to pushing our pawns, and that is why queen e2 is so important move first for the first move, and then we should start to push our pawns. But we need to choose wisely what to push here. f4 would be totally different position. Probably when we exchange heavy pieces, then we don't have that that advantage anymore, because without heavy pieces we can't attack. But e4 is the right answer here, and we need to support that first with queen e2 to defend the pawn on g4, and then to push our pawns and to take more space. Once when we take more space, we just need to include our pieces, and we have then logically more active squares for our pieces. Thank you if you enjoyed this game. See you in the next. Bye bye.